Everyone, Standard MTG here, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to Zendikar Rising again. And today we are going to give you my top 10 Rares Mythics. So it's going to be a combination of Rares and Mythics to make this top 10 list. The list probably could be a lot bigger than 10, so don't get too tilted if there's some that missing that, I've just kept this to 10 and these are going to be my personal favourites that I think will be very good in multiple different formats. So any others that you think will be really good, and I'm sure there'll be plenty, please put them in the comments. Let me know what you think, what they'll be in, what format and everything like that. I'll be very interested to know your thoughts on this new set. So let me just say as well quickly why this is probably going live. I am currently in the early access event for Zendikar Rising. So once you finish watching the video, go down to the description, follow me over on Twitch, and you can see me play some of the early access events. So if you can't do it today, no worries. I will probably be back on tomorrow there as well at some point. But give me a follow, get that notification going, and then you will see me live playing with the new cards just a little bit early, thanks to Wizards of the Coast that are giving out these preview accounts to some of the creators. So it's really good. Thanks a lot to them. So yes, we're going on to the Rares and Mythics today, and we're starting off. Number 10, in no particular order of course, is a Lithoform Engine for me. So this, well, it's probably going to go in a lot of EDH decks. It's colourless, so it doesn't have to matter about the colours. It looks pretty. I'm not going to say broken, but it just looks so good. So it's got 3 modes: 2 tap, copy target, activated or triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for that ability, so, Planeswalker stuff. 3 copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. New targets, obviously, for the copy as well if you desire. And the 4 copy target permanent spell you control, so the copy becomes a token, so you can, in EDH, you've got amazing one-ofs that you got in there. You can, as long as they're non-legendary, you can start making 2 of these artifacts or 2 of some great permanents. This seems really good. I'm sure there's going to be ways that people are going to be thinking, can I break this? Can I break this? If you know of any way, let me know in the comments, but I just think this is probably going to become, pretty sure it's going to become a staple. Standard, not so sure, not too sure on that. Maybe, I've not heard many people talk about it for standard, but I do think this going into every ADH deck is probably a given. So sticking with colourless now, I'm going for Forsaken Monument, this mythic 5 mana. Really good if you love playing colourless decks. If you got, I play Memnarch and stuff like that, and putting colourless, creatures into play is something that I do as well. But I really would love a colourless standard. It would be lovely if we could do that. This is a great legendary artifact. Colourless creatures you control get +2/2. Whenever you tap a permanent for colourless, add an additional colours as well. And whenever you cast a colourless spell, colourless cast, you gain 2 life. So this has a lot of great little modes in there just for 5 mana. I think this is really good EDH without a doubt. This is going to be played. Seems, we got cards like Cage Sun that used to, give the creatures +1/1 and has an ability of giving extra mana, which I think is really good. But how do you compare this to this? Do you think it's better? I mean, obviously that can give you any colour, which is really good. So it enters the battlefield, you choose a colour with Cage Sun. Forsaken Moment, I still think it's going to see a lot, quite a bit of play. The additional mana addition is good as well. Gaining life is never bad, and obviously a bump up to your creatures as well. Giving all those colourless creatures +2/2 will be pretty good. Now, obviously with Cage Sun, you choose that colour. If you're a mono deck, it works really well with that, but obviously it has to stay in a monocolour deck because you can only give that sort of creature a pump, really. Although I suppose you could play in multicolour decks, but this is obviously more specific for a colourless type of deck. And I still think, though, it's a really cool card, and I definitely think it's going to see some play. Next card on my list is Yasharn Implacable Earth. Now, this looks a fun card, doesn't it? But it is a very good card. When Yasharn enters the battlefield, search your life for a basic forest card and a basic plains card. Reveal them, put them into your hand. Very good. Players can't pay life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spell or activate abilities. Oh, bit of a hate bear, love it. It's an elemental boar, so pig hate, maybe something like that. It's a 4/4 stat as well. Obviously can be used as a really probably unfun commander, but maybe not too overpowerful. But I really do think this is a really nice card. Anything that likes to sack stuff, like obviously black colored decks, are really, they're not going to really like this. I do think it's a pretty powerful card myself. People that may be playing Commander play Gaddock Teague. maybe Dramoka or anything like that. Maybe you're going to give Yasharn a go. Let me know if that's obviously something that you're interested in. But I really do think that it's, you know, it's. I think if you play it in Commander, you're probably going to get hated quite a bit just because of, you know, it's a stop and play kind of Commander, isn't it? Standard, you know, with the old cat oven decks that used to be out there, this would have been quite good, where they can't sacrifice non-land permanents. That would have been absolutely brilliant. But I still think Yasharn could definitely have a bit of a place in Standard as well. And yeah, 4/4 for 4, legendary creature. See play in a few little formats, I think. Very, very nice rare cards. Next card on my list, well, if you remember Vampire Nighthawk, this is probably just a tad better. It is a great card. It's like a Tarmogoyf Nighthawk, shall we say. Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink, 1 double black, the same as the Vampire Nighthawk used to be as well. Nighthawk's scavenger power is equal to 1 plus the number of card types among cards in your opponent's graveyards. So maybe, you know, maybe a nice little finisher for Mill here. Cards in graveyards have only the characteristics of their front face. So, because we do have flip cards in this, it's only going to have their front face. But it's 1+ with the toughness of 3. I think it's a, you know, it's a really, really cool card. I like the alternate art card as well. I wouldn't mind picking up some of them if I could. But I think this is a nice aggressive creature. Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink. You know, Vampire Nighthawk is an iconic card. And this for me is a bit of a vampiric Goyf kind of card, and I think it's definitely going to see play, maybe in a Dimir Rogue Mill deck or something like that. But Standard, definitely without a doubt. And if you know, if you're playing any kind of black decks in EDH, you're probably going to be putting this in as well. So the next card on my list is a bit of an anti-ramp card. It's Confounding Conundrum, very much talked about rare card. 1 blue enchantment, ends the battlefield, draw a card. Whenever a land ends the battlefield under opponent's control, if that player had a land enter the battlefield under their control this turn, they return a land they control to their owner's hand. Very, very interesting card, this one. I think it's going to see some play. Ramp is obviously very prevalent. It is a bit of fetch land hate, I suppose, which is nice as well. So maybe older formats, possibly. But I do think for 2 mana, this would definitely going to see a bit of play. Being blue, I mean, there's a bit of talk where it could have been maybe a white card as well. I mean, what do you think about that? But thinking playing cards like Ghost Quarters in your deck, where you play it, they've already played the land, you destroy a land, they get a land, but then they have to bounce it back. I mean, it does seem a pretty interesting card. I'll be like to see if this, you know, does see some main ball play in Standard and maybe some other formats. But yeah, interesting cards, and I think it's, you know, definitely one of the good rares from Zendikar Rising. Very interesting card next on our list as well. There's a lot of cards there that I'm very interested to see how they work out. And Felidar Retreat's one of them as well. 3 and a white enchantment, landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, choose one, so you get to create a 2/2 white beast creature token, or put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. The creatures gain vigilance till end of turn. So could you put this in something like a blue-white control deck that doesn't really run creatures? It gives you a bit of a, you know, it gives you blockers and gives you a bit of a finisher kind of as well, because it's always going to be on there. You're going to be running multiple lands. So normally, you know, 25 to 28 lands in a control deck, and Felidar Retreat will definitely be able to do some work for you. Every turn, you know, past turn 4, you're going to be playing a land potentially, you know, maybe 1 or 2, or maybe you could put this in some type of ramp deck as well. But I like it. I'm going to be trying a couple of these, if not more, in a control deck and see how it works out. It can definitely overtake a game when it gets towards the end. You're doing your rafts, and then you're getting blockers, and then you just keep putting, you know, every land is not a dead draw because you're going to be making a 2/2. Maybe this could go in cat, beast, tribal, maybe, I don't know. But I think Felidar Retreat, I'm going to be trying for control, so let me know what you think about that. So now get ready for Land Harmonicon. It's Ancient Green Warden, 4 double green elemental card, 5/7 with reach. You may play lands from your graveyard. Brilliant. But if a land entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So wow, that's going to be great with landfall. It's going to be going in loads of different EDH decks, Azusa, everything like that. Anything that's lands based, this will probably want to be going in there. I think it's a really, really cool card. A massive stats, a 5/7 can stop flyers as well. For 6 mana, you could be easily ramping into this without a doubt. A lot of people obviously say this dies to removal. Well, it's going to take quite a bit of removal if it's going to be like anything like a lightning bolt, because, you know, you're going to need 3 of them to kill something like that. But I just think this is a really cool card. If you can get this out quick, which is going to be easily done in Standard, without a doubt. I think it's a very, you know, it's a very good Mythic and very interesting and very, very strong card, and maybe possibly one of the best cards in the set I think we might see. And Ancient Green Warden, yep, I'll be hoping to pull some of them in my packs and get it in some decks. So now we're down to the top 3, and well, I couldn't really believe this card when I first saw it. I just think it's so good. Leyline Tyrant, 2 double red, 4/4, going to be really good in limited because it's, you know, a 4 mana 4/4 flyer that's going to be really, really sweet, and obviously in Standard. So let's have a look at what it does. It says you don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end, which is pretty decent, I will say. When it dies, you may pay any amount of that red mana. When you do, it deals that much damage to any target. So you get all your mana, you tap it all out. When it dies, you get to just ping something, either ping your opponent for the win, or ping a planeswalker, ping a creature, anything like that. This is really, really good. I mean, it's just powerful. Imagine getting this down really quick and mixing it in with some other, you know, maybe you can play the Iron Crags and stuff like that again in Standard, and just get something really, really mean on this. This will finish games. This is a really good Mythic for me. This is just a card that can win games by itself. It's a 4/4 flyer, and like I say, it's going to be a limited bomb for you without a doubt. And I'm sure it's going to go into some Standard decks. It's just really, really good. I don't know how many times I can say that. It's going to win your games. Let's just say that. Coming at number 2, it's been called Snapcaster 2.0, but I'm not too sure about that. But I still think it's a very strong card. Seagate Stormcaller, 1 and a blue, 2/1, has Kicker for 5. Kicker, you know, is expensive. When Seagate Stormcaller enters the battlefield, copy the next instant or sorcery spell with coveted mana cost 2 or less. You may cast that when you cast it this turn. If Seagate Stormcaller was kicked, though, copy that spell twice instead, and you may choose new target for the copies. So, you know, casting 7 to copy it twice, you know, it's not too bad, I suppose. But the kicker for me is still quite expensive. But I still think this is going to be a very, very playable card. If it had flash, would that just make it a little bit too good? Maybe, possibly. Then you say it'd be better than Snapcaster Mage, and they want to put that in Standard? I'm not too sure. I like mixing this with maybe the Ral Planeswalker. I think that'd be very good to play with that as well. I think Seagate Stormcaller as well, when you think could be good in a deck with Thassa, you know, some kind of blinkage with Seagate Stormcaller will be really, really good. I'm sure it's going to see a hell of a lot of play. I mean, it's a blue Mythic. I like it. Now, the question is, do you think maybe it could have been rare? Possibly. But it's a Mythic, and I still think it's a very, very nice card. But being Mythic makes it that little bit harder to pull, which is, for someone like me that would probably want a playset of these, but still, very, very cool card. And now we go to my final card, the number 1, but not necessarily the best one, like I said, not in any particular order, but it's a blue card. It's Jace Mirror Mage. 3 mana Planeswalkers are generally pretty good, and this comes with 4 loyalty. And also has Kicker, so it's in there, but, you know, a Planeswalker with Kicker, absolutely brilliant. So Kicker 2 as well, so, you know, it's not even that excessive like we just spoke about the last card. When Jace Mirror Mage enters the battlefield, if Jace was kicked, create a token copy of Jace Mirror Mage, except it's not legendary, and its starting loyalty, though, is 1, not 4. +1 Scry 2. Now, Scry is so strong. Scry 2 and then Scry 2 again on each of your turns is just basically finding what you want. Maybe Scry 2 on the first one, and then 0, draw a card or reveal it, remove any number of loyalty counters. Mana cost from Jace, I mean, they're just going to work so well in tandem together. I think it's just going to be a really, really strong card. 3 mana. 3 mana. It's going to be down very, very quick. We've had a card like Jace Cunning, Castaway before that did copies, but I think this is going to be, I think this is going to be better. I love the Kicker version. That's what really makes it for me. I just think it's such a cool new addition to a Planeswalker. Art, yeah, it's okay. Not, you know, it's okay. I can see like they're getting the copy and everything like that. The Mirror Mage, but all in all, people are going to definitely want to play this. Scrying 4 potentially, drawing 2 cards. I mean, it just does what blue wants to do, doesn't it? And this for me is definitely one of the best mythics in the set. So that's my top 10 rares mythics. Very hard to get to 10, so there'll be a lot of cards that you're thinking, you know, it's not that I didn't want to put them in, it's just these are the 10 that I stuck with. So let me know which ones you would put in your top 10, maybe put a total top 5, or you can do a top 10 in the list if you want in the comments. I would very much appreciate that. If you haven't seen my top 10 uncommons and commons video, there will be links below in the description. Make sure you please go and check them out and go and show them some love as well. I'll be interested, you know, to hear your feedback on all the videos. And yeah, I would very much like to see you on tonight's stream if you're around, if not on Thursday. So if you're watching this on the day of it going up, I will be streaming the early access event, like I said, over on Twitch TV/TotalMTG. So make sure you come on over and say hi and say you've come over from this video, or just come over from the YouTube channel. Anyway, you lot take care today. I just want to give a final shout out to all my Patreons. Thank you very much for your extra support. I really, really do appreciate it. You lot take care, and I'll see you on the next video.